if your approach is supernaturalistic. You spoke about the origin of the universe, which you claim had a beginning. Well, how do you know that? Oh, I'm sorry. Then I'll continue.
All right. Afterwards with the next.
All right.
Yeah. And we give you a couple of minutes, additional minutes, because he had 8. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me first interact with some of the points that Mr. Szabo has mentioned. I began my last talk with referring to the experience of transcendence. Now, I actually did not use that as an argument. I just pointed out an observation that it is a universal human experience. And then I say, this experience fits very well with the 5 arguments I have presented. And in the light of those 5 arguments, I think it's just interesting to notice that it fits so well with who we are as human beings. Secondly, when it comes to the burden of proof, it is not at all that I'm claiming that everything goes and that every option is as good as any other option. Of course, a flying spaghetti monster or a spaghetti monster is a stupid notion. And if someone is claiming that, so then we have to have a discussion. And of course, in reality, you will not meet people who hold this view, or if you do, they will not have any arguments for it. So instead of saying, well, my position is the default position, I do not need to have to argue for it, all others should argue for their, I think we should say, I have an open mind to listen to other options, and I'm willing to argue for my own. The real question is not to identify is there a spaghetti monster or a flying teapot or a Zeus, or does this God exist? I think you should start with the question, what can explain this reality? And here we are on equal terms. We are human beings. We are part of this reality, and everyone has to ask oneself, what is the explanation of this? How can I understand this? One possibility, which is the atheistic possibility, is to say, this reality is all there is, it can explain itself. The other possibility is to say, there is something beyond this reality. There is a God, and He's the best explanation for this reality. I have put forward a number of arguments for that position. I'm still waiting for the positive arguments for atheism. I did not go into detail with when it comes to Antony Flou's arguments. I mentioned what is for him the most convincing argument for design, and that is the fine-tuning of the universe. That is such an amazing fine-tuning that the probabilities for chance, it's just so improbable. And he would say that is one of the main arguments for him. Mr. Szabo had a number of comments on science, and I find it interesting that he defines science naturalistically. Now that is of course very convenient to say that science is defined according to my worldview, and therefore science will only confirm my worldview. Well, but that is a circular reasoning, of course. If science is naturalistic, of course it will confirm naturalism. But you have not come very far in philosophy with that kind of reasoning, have you? You presuppose it's your conclusion. In reality, science is a tool we have to investigate into nature. It is highly compatible with the belief that there is a God who has created a regular, ordered universe, and it's highly compatible as such with atheism, that there is nothing beyond this world. The scientists need to, in their scientific work, leave aside those worldview questions as much as they can. It's not scientific to say there is no God. You need here to distinguish between the scientific method, which searches for causes that are natural, and naturalism as a worldview which claims there is no God. So science searches for natural causes for natural events or effects, and we can all agree on that. But science is not naturalistic or formed out of naturalism as a philosophy or worldview. I challenge you, in terms of what the New Atheists are saying of religion, to read their own books. They are not criticizing some religion, they are actually criticizing religion as such. Richard Dawkins had a TV series called Religion, the Root of All Evil. When it comes to my statement that the New Atheists are using an outdated view of science, I actually gave examples of that. They say that on a principle level, science and belief in God is incompatible. Well, historians of science reject that and says historically Christianity and science has during long periods worked very well together. There is no inherent conflict, although you can find a number of individual conflicts, points of tensions. My statement that the New Atheists are ignorant of philosophy, Mr. Szabo said I did not give any examples, but I actually did. I gave you 2 examples where they have a faulty, invalid reasoning in terms of the burden of proof and in terms of drawing wrong conclusion from the fact that some experiences are caused by the brain to say all religious experiences are caused by the brain. When it comes to Francis Crick, it's true that he refers to a personal experience, but it's also true that there is a long history before where his scientific findings forces him to think more and more about God and starts to convince him. And for him, like for all of us, it's not only rational reasoning, there are also other sides of our person and our lives that come into play when we form our beliefs. And in his view, he also records about an experiences he had. Let me end this part by saying, for me, Christianity is intellectually satisfying because it answers the basic questions of man. Where did the universe come from? Why is it so fine-tuned? Why am I a person? How can I explain personhood? Why have I freedom and dignity? What is the basis for morality? Who was Jesus Christ? His identity, his resurrection. Christianity is intellectually satisfying, but it's actually much, much more than that. It also meets my existential needs of meaning, of forgiveness, and for hope. It speaks to my mind as well as to my heart and to my longings. Everything changes if there is a God who loves me. Everything changes, I think, if there is a God who can free me from the points of shame I had in my own history, who can give me hope. Christianity gives real answers, but it gives much, much more. It offers life. We can come in contact, in personal contact, with the Creator who caused our existence. And He wants to show us love and to restore our lives to the full human potential. Don't miss that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Attila, your last 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. You can try.
I would need another lecture for answering Mr. Gustavsson. Well, okay. Everyone has this feeling to find something more, to have a more fulfilled life. I think that's what your point is, to find humanism, to find transcendence. Well, I agree with you, but your position is that only Jesus Christ can do this. This is where I disagree with you. I mentioned pot. I mentioned other things as well. So you can't tell us what we should take as the meaning of our lives.